We're back and we're making history on the Seven Rivers Racing Show here on KQEG TV. Al Losi and Dan Dyker enjoying the program today with StarMaker Multimedia's Dale Danielski, and he has brought some fantastic video footage of the history of racing here in western Wisconsin. And without further ado, we're going to get right back to the video here in a moment and talk about the brand new La Crosse Fairgrounds Speedway 1957 version.
That is correct, and this is footage from, we're not sure the year, but the track opened in 1957 in West Salem, where it currently still lies, and they had what they called the big cars, and that was popular at that time, Offenhauser engines. Anyway, the fairgrounds had been basically downtown La Crosse, where the current UWL Stadium is. And for whatever reason, whatever transpired, it was decided, okay, going to build a brand new fairgrounds and focus on auto racing. So they had a track specially built for it. And that first action you saw was some of the first racing that took place there with the big cars. And of course, then it evolved to more local racing with stock cars. And that's what we're watching here.
Did you actually on the other bigger cars that you were talking about, didn't A.J. Foyt run out there?
Oh, it was unbelievable, the stars that did race. Johnny Rutherford, A.J. Foyt, the Bettenhausens, and of course guys that raced before that, Jim Hurtubise, pretty much all the stars that of the time and that you heard about for years did compete at one time or another.
What about traveling series? Did you have a lot of, now you have the Big 8 series and you have the ASA and you have a lot of traveling series. You didn't have a lot of series back then that had maybe special nights. It was just come as you are.
Well, actually, there were some sanctioning bodies, and the one that actually held the events here in West Salem, and really throughout the country, at mostly fairground speedways, was IMCA, the International Motor Contest Association. And they were the sanctioning body that promoted and actually held these events. And that was probably as close as you'd come to what it is today, where you have series and whatnot.
And again, Dale Danielski joining us, StarMaker Multimedia, bringing you all this fantastic footage of history in the making here in western Wisconsin. We're going to go from dirt tracks to someone finally going, I've got the money, let's see if we can make this work on asphalt.
And again, in our immediate area, you did have a couple of area businessmen, Bob Morris and Larry Weirs. After the West Salem track had operated as a dirt facility through the 1960s, they got together and thought, well, pavement may be the way to go.
Which track is this?
This track actually happens to be one in Plover, Wisconsin, the Golden Sands Speedway, which again was another one of the first ones that went with pavement. And all of a sudden, okay, it's not as dirty, it's not as dusty, it's more fan friendly. And
a whole lot faster.
Exactly. The speeds were
oh, go ahead.
Well, basically the speeds were the attraction then.
Right.
You got to think after the initial expense of putting down the asphalt, it's probably less operating costs as well.
Precisely. Didn't need extra equipment really to do a whole lot in terms of maintenance like you would on dirt. And it caught on. I mean, you had this track, you had tracks in Black River Falls, you had tracks in Wisconsin Rapids, toward Madison. I mean, they were just cropping up all over. And some that were dirt at one time, they just basically paved, and some were built just for that. So it was another part of the evolution of racing, one of the biggest changes. And again, in 1970 is when Larry Weirs and Bob Morris got the West Salem facility paved, and I guess the rest is history.
We got a couple of event winners here. Looks like Jim Sauter, Tom Reffner, of course the Reffner name still holding strong every Oktoberfest. And this right here was just about the time that Oktoberfest, as we know it today, really started bringing the stars. Everybody wanted to come to La Crosse and not just compete but win that Oktoberfest race.
That really was one of the first major events, I think, really in the entire Midwest. And that was in 1970. And matter of fact, Tom Reffner was the one that ended up winning that first ever Oktoberfest event. Jim Sauter actually won the first event that when they finally got the track open and it was paved, he was actually the first ever winner on the pavement. So yes, and the Oktoberfest event obviously has continued on, tradition-rich, very popular, and it's right here in our backyard.
Well, it's become popular outside this area too. Back in the 90s when I was touring with the Winston Cup circuit as a crew member, a lot of the crew members and the drivers would talk about coming to Oktoberfest. Mark Martin's run here, DW's talked about it with me. It's amazing what people remember about the La Crosse Fairgrounds Speedway.
It really is nationally known, and matter of fact, the footage we're seeing here is of that first event in 1970. That is your first Oktoberfest event held on the pavement.
And if folks are watching this and you see cars and you see numbers, we're going to kind of play some trivia here, and Al's going to give you the website. We want you to name as many of these drivers and cars as you're seeing right now during the very first 1970 Oktoberfest here at the La Crosse Fairgrounds Speedway, and send them in. And we might even pick a couple of those and send some prizes out for folks that attend the races, or maybe folks that don't have a chance to come out, like the number 90 right there. Let us know who you think that car belongs to, and maybe even some of the pit guys. Always got to give the pit guys some recognition as well, and send it in to us. And if you look right there, how crowded that infield was, someone being taken away in a wrecker, and look at the advancements from how it's gone there. The bluffs look the same. Obviously, you can't change the bluffs, but the difference is that track looks at back in 1970, and here we are 41 years later.
Yeah, and send in any names, identify the car, like if it was car number 88, the blue one, let us know who that was, and we will definitely send out some gifts. That email address to go to give your answers is fansarena.com/sevenriversracingshow.html.
And Dale, give us a little bit of information real quickly as we wrap the program up tonight on the business you're incorporated with.
Well, you know, it's not just history. Star Maker Multimedia actually is a marketing company, and we do a fair amount of motorsports marketing, whether it be tracks, race teams. So absolutely, go to the www.starmakermultimedia site, and you know, we can probably help you out. Once that racing bug hits, it's hard to get it out of your blood, so we're still involved.
It is. I know it's on Saturday nights, and by Tuesday I'm ready to go again. And once I've recuperated from that weekend at the track, I'm ready to go for the next racing weekend. Again, Star Maker Multimedia, and if you really want to watch this show over and over and over, we're going to see how many hits we get at youtube.com/sevenriversracing. And if it warrants, we'll bring Dale back again later in the racing season with more of this fantastic footage that you're only going to see right here on the program. Dale, thanks for coming in. Thanks for sharing the knowledge, and thanks for sharing the video and the photography. And Al, thanks for some of your insight as well. And hopefully I never catch you running through a cemetery to get into a racetrack again anytime soon. That's Dale Danielski from the Star Maker Multimedia, Al Lucy, and myself, Dan Dykert. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back next week with another big show right here on the Seven Rivers Racing Show on KQEG.